My name is Gasia, Mikaelian, and I'm coming to you through KTVU Fox 2 News in the San Francisco Bay Area. Today, we're talking about anxieties over the COVID-19 vaccine rollout, what's happening here in our region and certainly across the country. I'm so happy to welcome to this conversation Dr. Margaret Cochran. You're a mental health expert here to help us through the anxieties we may be feeling. Thanks for joining us.
Oh, thank you for having me.
So when it comes to the vaccine rollout, there are a lot of people jostling to get an appointment. There's a lot of jealousy over who's getting it and I'm not getting it. Help us understand the fear that comes with the vaccine rollout.
Well, that's a really good question. And let me begin by stating the obvious. It is a mess, an absolute mess. And people are frustrated on both sides of the equation. Those of us in medicine are frustrated because we can't get to people. We don't have enough vaccine. People on the other side who are trying to get their vaccine are frustrated because they wait in long lines. And as was evidenced in Southern California a little while ago, everything ground to a halt for a while because of protesters who are concerned about the vaccine. It's been pretty awful for everybody, but there's hope.
Can you tell us, how can we find hope when on a day-to-day basis, most of us are just feeling fear and anxiety?
Well, what really matters here is to recognize kind of how the brain works. And I want to just go into the neurobiology of that really briefly. Basically, there's a part of the brain called the limbic system, and that's the part of the brain that controls emotion. And a big player in that's something called the amygdala. And the amygdala is the thing that makes us react strongly to things, produce adrenaline, that kind of thing. And as a result of that, and the fact that our brains pretty much haven't evolved over the last 10,000 years, we can often react to things as though they're life and death when they're really not. Now, while it's true, this is a life-threatening illness, no question about that. The day on which you get the vaccine is not necessarily, but we react to it as though it is.
Right. So let's talk a little bit about some of the feelings that, frankly, I've been having. I mean, I have parents who are in their mid to late 70s. I'm seeing people putting like vaccine selfies on dating sites saying, hey, I'm safe, come date me. And I think, why does this 29-year-old get the vaccine and my 78-year-old father doesn't?
Well, first of all, on dating sites, I wouldn't trust everything I see.
Right.
As you probably noticed, people kind of fib a little bit there. So they don't necessarily have it. And even if they do have it, it doesn't make them safe. We have to remember that this disease is so prevalent now, it's literally hanging in the air. Literally hanging in the air. And it can stay in the air for up to 3 hours after someone's gone by who has it. So even though you may be one of the lucky ones who've gotten vaccinated, both your vaccines and about 2 weeks to a month have passed since you've had your second vaccine, you still need to double mask until the numbers begin to go down precipitously.
So what do you advise for those people who say, I'm taking the advice, I'm not bothering my doctor personally, I'm checking on the county websites, I'm looking to see what my hospital has to offer, and I'm getting that message of, sit back and wait, we'll let you know when it's your turn. Coping with that impatience can be very difficult.
Yes, it can. Isn't impatience frustrating? There are a number of things going on in the world right now that are taxing our patience. So we have a lot on our plate in addition to the vaccine. However, what you really need to do, and you're probably sick of hearing this from experts everywhere, is practice self-care. Because here's the thing. Going back to our neurobiology lesson earlier, when the amygdala has been overstimulated over time, what begins to happen is you're laying down neuronal tracks that bypass the prefrontal cortex. That's right behind your eyebrows here. That's a part that does critical thinking. So pretty soon, the message from the amygdala stops going through your discernment center and just starts saying panic, fear, horror, scare, gonna die, really bad. And we go into 4 different phases there: fight, flight, fib, or food. Now, you've probably heard of fight or flight. Fib is people just tell lies. Just, I'm in trouble, I'm just going to make something up. Or, as many have noticed over the pandemic, they've gained maybe a few pounds here and there. They've used food to cope with, their fear. So self-care is really important. Exercise, talking to people safely, especially your spouse or your romantic partner. This is a wonderful time in this midst of this horror to do some connection there.
And other than talking to, there are a lot of people who are living alone during the pandemic. They're not going into a work or a school setting anymore. For
Right.
someone who is isolated, it can be very easy for those fears to spiral, because I'll be honest, I am I'm going to lose my job. We're going to lose the house. The boys are going to get sick. And my husband is, you're doing great at your work. We have 6 months savings in the bank. The boys are fine. So it's nice that I have a balance. But what about those people who really are left all alone?
Okay, well, even for those of us who are not, it's really important to talk back to our fear. People often think that, because I have a thought or because I have a feeling, I have no choice in the matter. You do. Thoughts and feelings are learned responses to life. So we have ultimate control over how we deal with those. And all of us have crazy thoughts from time to time. Oh my gosh, this is going to happen. The sky's falling, Henny Penny. It's not going to work out, just like all the lovely things you just said. And it's important that we actually check the information at hand. The sky looks pretty good to me. Don't think it's coming down. I haven't heard anything about layoffs at my work. The kids look pretty healthy. Yeah. And then stand down and do some of your self-care stuff.
And finally, for viewers who want to hear a lot more about what you're saying, is there an online resource you can point them to?
Absolutely. drcochran.com.
Okay, that's easy. Well, Dr. Cochran, it's a joy to talk with you. Thank you for helping us ease some of this pandemic-related stress.
Be safe and be well.